princess for holding to formalities.
Spoiler alert. Westeros has now entered the dance of the dragons, with all the fiery devastation that was both anticipated and terrifying. The destruction caused by their dragons has finally been let loose on the Seven Kingdoms, and the realm will never be the same as the split Targaryen dynasty battles for control of the Iron Throne in the second season of House of Dragon. While it is easy to attribute all of this wanton destruction to Aegon's usurpation and incompetent rule, Rhaenyra must also share some of the responsibility for her inaction in the early stages of the conflict. Both pretenders to the throne are complicated, fallible people, and both are imperfect kings, each with flaws that affect how well they rule. Welcome to Movie Spy. There's no denying that Westeros would miss Viserys terribly since he led his factions into battle and was the only king who could have really kept the realm safe. Princess Rhaenys Targaryen was the most qualified candidate to occupy the Iron Throne out of all of the contestants since she possessed the most noble traits expected of a monarch, even in the face of overwhelming resistance. Even though she was called the Queen Who Never Was, Rhaenys proved to be a more capable and astute ruler than her rival relatives. The people of the realm will quickly grow to miss the Queen Who Should Have Been, since the dancing of dragons will only cause more destruction. Despite suffering and being treated poorly, Rhaenys remained honorable. Choosing a successor was a difficult chore for King Jaehaerys the Conciliator, who had lost both of his heirs before they could take the throne. The two candidates with the greatest claims were Viserys, the second son of Jaehaerys, and Rhaenys, the firstborn child of Jaehaerys, the eldest son. Viserys hosted a great council of all the lords of Westeros. The patriarchal ideals of the realm influenced the lords in council, who selected Viserys as their next king, even though Rhaenys was the oldest descendant in the line of succession. To make matters worse, Rhaenys was dubbed the Queen Who Never Was, a moniker that dogged the princess for the remainder of her life. She showed the proud resilience fitting a Targaryen in the face of insults. No crown was required to declare so. Rhaenys, who had a close bond with Meleys, was a skilled and accomplished dragon rider. The Targaryen princess, more powerful than any of the smug lords would have her believe, even rode a dragon to her own wedding. Rhaenys, who was married to Corlys Velaryon, and her spouse were strong role models in Westeros. Because of how deep the bond between the two surviving Valyrian houses was and how strong their combined might could be, it established a precedent for future betrothals. The Sea Snake led the strongest naval force in Westeros. Rhaenys rode the swiftest dragon in the sky, and the Lord and Lady of Driftmark continued to be among the most powerful figures in the kingdom, even if they were not sitting on the Iron Throne. House of the Dragons, Rhaenys was a forgiving and kind matriarch. Rhaenys refused to compromise her most admirable traits, even in the face of continual mistreatment and being duped out of her fortune. She and Corlys fostered one of the better family interactions in the entire show, as she was a patient and protective matriarch. Still, Rhaenys held her own and was a powerful figure. His sadness drove him into the oceans for 6 years, during which time his 2 children died tragically. But Rhaenys showed more than competence in managing Driftmark in her husband's absence. Later, Rhaenys would take on Baela as a ward, maintaining a tradition of strong women in a world full of reckless lads, despite being alone and never weak. Rhaenys' behaviors were characterized by benevolence, which suggested that she would have been a wise queen. Even though their differences about Driftmark's succession caused some friction at first, Rhaenys also grew close to Rhaenyra. Though Rhaenys never earned Rhaenyra's designation as her father's heir, the more experienced princess developed as a mentor to the younger Targaryen. Rhaenys rises to prominence in the small council of the Blacks following the death of Viserys. Despite the disdain directed at their queen, Rhaenys continues to be a strong defender of her niece's right to reign. Rhaenys' generosity was matched with tolerance and forgiveness. Season 2's revelation that Corlys' fathered bastard offspring comes from Rhaenys noticing how much Alan of Hull resembles her husband. She did not put the responsibility on the child, though, even if the infidelity was an insult. In fact, she even advised Corlys to strengthen the child rather than conceal him. After the tragedy that transpired shortly after, Rhaenys' tender forgiveness in this moment was a bittersweet parting gift for Corlys. Better to rule than Rhaenyra or Aegon would have been Rhaenys. However, Rhaenys would have been a more formidable queen than Rhaenyra or Aegon had she possessed Rhaenys' strength in addition to her mild disposition. It goes without saying that anyone could be a better king than Aegon, whose conceited selfishness and naivete make him unfit for the position. However, even Rhaenyra has demonstrated grave flaws. She entered King's Landing on a whim and was utterly unsure about how to prepare for battle. In contrast to the other two candidates, Rhaenys prioritized peace while still acting decisively. Her decision not to assault the Greens during her escape from the Dragon Pit effectively exemplifies this quality, although it is a contentious one. Rhaenys behaved assertively to spread the word and strengthen her own family, but she passed up the chance to speak out for peace. Despite decades of mistreatment from both her family and tiny people, Rhaenys persevered and maintained her pride. Given that she is among the most powerful powers in all of Westeros, it is understandable why. Even by virtue of her existence, astride Meleys, the Red Queen, and the quickest dragon alive, Rhaenys served as an active military deterrent. She jumped at the chance to support her husband's siege, riding a dragon to patrol hundreds of kilometers when battle became certain. She was too seasoned to be intimidated by Daemon, and her unflinching confidence was reinforced by the outcome of the Battle of Rook's Rest. She is only defeated by an ambush by two other dragons, an attack that nearly lost the Greens their own king. Rhaenys might have easily defeated both Aemond and the biggest living dragon, Vhagar, in a one-on-one battle. If not for Vhagar's unexpected strike, she would have almost defeated them in battle despite Aemond's schemes. Even though she tragically lost this battle, her sacrifice helped win the larger conflict. Rhaenys' blend of great traits, demonstrated each time she overcame hardship, demonstrated how effective she would have been as queen. Eve was the Princess Rhaenys' greatest example of warmth and strength. Aside from the grief felt by Westeros over the death of its potential queen and one of the last dragons, viewers will also be saddened by Eve Best's departure because her portrayal of Rhaenys has been nothing short of extraordinary. No matter how loaded the cast of performers was, Best controlled the screen by remaining constant during the time jump. Beautiful, strong, and occasionally even a little sarcastic, Best captured Rhaenys' nuance in even the most delicate of situations. Best's portrayal of Rhaenys brilliantly encapsulated the Targaryen princess's many virtues, including her fortitude in the face of mistreatment, her generosity in the face of apathy, and the flaming audacity that only a dragon rider possesses. Though one of the war's first casualties, Rhaenys' reputation and influence will endure, serving as a source of both inspiration and martyrdom for the opposing groups. George Martin, the author of the series, has the perfect words to say goodbye to a character as influential and unforgettable as Rhaenys. The queen who never was lived fearlessly and died amidst blood and fire. The book Fire and Blood describes the dragon rider's last stand. Not only will the Blacks miss Rhaenys greatly, but all of Westeros will too. And one can only long for the queen who should have been's reign while the dance of dragons carries on wreaking havoc and fire over the land. Thanks for watching.